experience at a small college like Mount Aloysius is actually personal. The faculty and staff know my goals. It's a level of support you won't find at other colleges. And the Mount backs it up with career-focused partnerships and majors. As soon as I visited, it just felt like home. That's what makes this place different. Makes college elevated. Mount Aloysius College.
We asked 10 Mountie esports players 10 specific questions, and these are their answers.
Watermelon Ice from Gamer Subs.
Ghost Energy, either the cans or the pre-workout, either work.
So I used to be a Ghost favorite, but now
Too long.
White Monster for sure.
Monster, the Fantasy Red Ruby.
The Mountie GG Gamer Subs that they provide.
Taco Bell, absolutely.
McDonald's is so much better.
Taco Bell has to be. I've eaten too much McDonald's since it's right down the street.
McDonald's. I like the Oreo McFlurries.
I'm gonna choose Taco Bell because it gives me less stomach problems than McDonald's does.
McDonald's all the way.
There's levels to this, and Taco Bell is at the top one.
Sheets guy all the way. I actually don't know what Wawa is, but Sheets.
I gotta say Wawa. I grew up with Wawa, and I just think the food's better.
Sheets is the best thing to grace our planet.
I'd have to go with Sheets.
Definitely rough.
Injustice, no J-Naps.
Hydron, probably.
Probably T-Crow.
Either Skippy or T-Crow.
Croc. Pokemon Red for the Game Boy Color.
Webkins. That was the first video game I've ever played, Webkins. Oh my god.
League of Legends. Sadly, that was the first game. That's one of the only games that I played. I just enjoy it so much.
Mario Kart 7 on the DS.
No bully.
Probably PGE.
Some of the top masks.
Definitely PGE.
Angry Ginge or somebody in that realm, like Speed and stuff, they're pretty funny.
Probably my dorm.
Definitely Birchie.
I think the pond is one of the greatest schools if you like.
The library, it just got renovated and much nicer, much quieter.
Definitely my room. Probably the IT area in the library.
Yes, I love snowboarding. I've been snowboarding my whole life.
Are you a snow person?
Not really, no. I don't really like the cold a whole lot.
I prefer summer.
Only for playing Snow Day in Rocket League.
No.
Yeah, I love snow.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm from upstate New York.
I love snow. I think it's so fun.
I think I would play, I don't even know. That's the only game that I play.
Probably competitive TF2. Probably Rivals, you know.
I'd probably just play Trackmania.
I think the culture at Smash is insane. I would love to play Smash.
I'd probably play Madden.
Gotta be Mount Aloysius College, you can't beat them.
Mounties, obviously.
Mount Aloysius, of course.
Oh my gosh, this isn't the question. Mountie esports.
I mean, gotta be the Mounties, right? The culture here is unmatched.
The Mount Aloysius esports program.
Obviously, Mount Aloysius.
You're looking at it. Gotta be the Mounties esports.
Cool.
You have more important things in life to think about than your internet. At BreezeLine, we propel life forward with home internet so reliable, you don't have to think about it. With a team that goes above and beyond, fiber-powered speeds up to 1 gig, and 99.9% reliability at any hour, in any room. You won't have to think about your internet again. Go to breezeline.com for internet that propels life forward.
Here at Mountain Esports, we take it to the next level. Our players have the ability to travel, compete, and even participate on the caffeine committee. Check out the Insta to see what's new with Mountain Esports today.
At the Mount, things are, well, elevated. And it's not just because we're on a mountain. The experience at a small college like Mount Aloysius is actually personal. The faculty and staff know my goals. It's a level of support you won't find at other colleges. And the Mount backs it up with career-focused partnerships and majors. As soon as I visited, it just felt like home. That's what makes this place different. Makes college elevated. Mount Aloysius College.
We asked 10 Mountie esports players 10 specific questions, and these are their answers.
Watermelon ice from Gamersubs.
Ghost energy, either the cans or the pre-workout, either work.
So I used to be a Ghost favorite, but now
Too long. White Monster for sure.
Monster, the Fantasy Red Ruby.
The Mountie GG gamer subs that they provide.
Taco Bell, absolutely.
McDonald's is so much better.
Taco Bell has to be. I've eaten too much McDonald's since it's right down the street.
McDonald's. I like the Oreo McFlurries.
I'm gonna choose Taco Bell because it gives me less stomach problems than McDonald's does.
McDonald's all the way.
There's levels to this, and Taco Bell is at the top one.
Sheets guy all the way.
I actually don't know what Wawa is, but Sheets.
I gotta say Wawa. I grew up with Wawa, and I just think the food's better.
Sheets is the best thing to grace our planet.
I'd have to go with Sheets.
Definitely rough.
Justin, no J-Naps.
Hydron, probably.
Probably T-Crow.
Either Skippy or T-Crow.
Croc. Pokemon Red for the Game Boy Color.
Webkins. That was the first video game I've ever played, Webkins.
League of Legends. Sadly, that was the first game. That's one of the only games that I played. I just enjoy it so much.
Mario Kart 7 on the DS.
No bully.
Probably PGE.
Some of the top masks.
Definitely PGE.
Angry Ginge or somebody in that realm, like Speed and stuff, they're pretty funny.
Probably my dorm.
Definitely Birchie.
I think the pond is one of the greatest schools we can play.
The library, it just got renovated and much nicer, much quieter.
Definitely my room.
Probably the IT area in the library.
Yes, I love snowboarding. I've been snowboarding my whole life.
Are you a snow person?
Not really, no. I don't really like the cold a whole lot.
I prefer summer.
Only for playing Snow Day in Rocket League.
No.
Yeah, I love snow.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm from upstate New York.
I love snow. I think it's so fun.
I think I would play, I don't even know. That's the only game that I play.
Probably competitive TF2.
Probably Rivals, you know.
I'd probably just play Trackmania.
I think the culture at Smash is insane. I would love to play Smash.
I'd probably play Madden.
Gotta be Mount Aloysius College. You can't beat them.
Mounties, obviously.
Mount Aloysius, of course.
Oh my gosh, this isn't the question. Mountie Esports.
I mean, gotta be the Mounties, right? The culture here is unmatched.
The Mount Aloysius esports program.
Obviously, Mount Aloysius.
You're looking at it.
Gotta be the Mounties Esports.
Cool.
You have more important things in life to think about than your internet. At BreezeLine, we propel life forward with home internet so reliable, you don't have to think about it. With a team that goes above and beyond. Fiber-powered speeds up to 1 gig. And 99.9% reliability at any hour. In any room. You won't have to think about your internet again. Go to breezeline.com for internet that propels life forward.
Here at Mountain Esports, we take it to the next level. Our players have the ability to travel, compete, and even participate on the caffeine committee. Check out the Insta to see what's new with Mountain Esports today.
At the Mount, things are, well, elevated. And it's not just because we're on a mountain. The experience at a small college like Mount Aloysius is actually personal. The faculty and staff know my goals. It's a level of support you won't find at other colleges. And the Mount backs it up with career-focused partnerships and majors. As soon as I visited, it just felt like home. That's what makes this place different, makes college elevated. Mount Aloysius College.
We asked 10 Mountie esports players 10 specific questions, and these are their answers.
Watermelon ice from Gamer Subs.
Ghost energy, either the cans or the pre-workout, either work.
So I used to be a Ghost favorite, but now
Too long. White Monster for sure.
Monster, the Fantasy Red Ruby.
The Mountie GG gamer subs that they provide.
Taco Bell, absolutely.
McDonald's is so much better.
Taco Bell has to be. I've eaten too much McDonald's since it's right down the street.
McDonald's. I like the Oreo McFlurries.
I'm gonna choose Taco Bell because it gives me less stomach problems than McDonald's does.
McDonald's all the way.
There's levels to this, and Taco Bell is at the top one.
Sheets guy all the way.
I actually don't know what Wawa is, but Sheets.
I gotta say Wawa. I grew up with Wawa, and I just think the food's better.
Sheets is the best thing to grace our planet.
I'd have to go with Sheets.
Definitely rough.
Injustice, no J-Naps.
Hydron, probably.
Probably Tea Corral.
Either Skippy or T-Corral.
Croc. Pokemon Red for the Game Boy Color.
Webkins. That was the first video game I've ever played, Webkins. Oh my god.
League of Legends. Sadly, that was the first game. That's one of the only games that I played. I just enjoy it so much.
Mario Kart 7 on the DS.
No bully.
Probably PGE.
Some of the top masks.
Definitely PGE.
Angry Ginge or somebody in that realm, like Speed and stuff, they're pretty funny.
Probably my dorm.
Definitely Birchie.
I think the pond is one of the greatest schools you can buy.
The library, it just got renovated, much nicer, much quieter.
Definitely my room. Probably the IT area in the library.
Yes, I love snowboarding. I've been snowboarding my whole life.
Are you a snow person?
Not really, no. I don't really like the cold a whole lot.
I prefer summer.
Only for playing Snow Day in Rocket League.
No.
Yeah, I love snow.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm from upstate New York.
I love snow. I think it's so fun.
I think I would play, I don't even know. That's the only game that I play.
Probably competitive TF2. Probably Rivals, you know.
I'd probably just play Trackmania.
I think the culture at Smash is insane. I would love to play Smash.
I'd probably play Madden.
Gotta be Mount Aloysius College. You can't beat them.
Mounties, obviously.
Mount Aloysius, of course.
Oh my gosh, this isn't the question. Mountie esports.
I mean, gotta be the Mounties, right? The culture here is unmatched.
The Mount Aloysius esports program.
Obviously, Mount Aloysius.
You're looking at it. Gotta be the Mounties esports.
Cool.
You have more important things in life to think about than your internet. At BreezeLine, we propel life forward with home internet so reliable, you don't have to think about it. With a team that goes above and beyond, fiber-powered speeds up to 1 gig, and 99.9% reliability at any hour, in any room. You won't have to think about your internet again. Go to breezeline.com for internet that propels life forward.
Here at Mountain Esports, we take it to the next level. Our players have the ability to travel, compete, and even participate on the caffeine committee. Check out the Insta to see what's new with Mountain Esports today.
At the Mount, things are, well, elevated. And it's not just because we're on a mountain. The experience at a small college like Mount Aloysius is actually personal. The faculty and staff know my goals. It's a level of support you won't find at other colleges. And the Mount backs it up with career-focused partnerships and majors. As soon as I visited, it just felt like home. That's what makes this place different. Makes college elevated. Mount Aloysius College.
It do what it do. It's your boy Q, and welcome back in for some more Week 2 action here at the PIEA, powered by the Esports Company. And today, we get to Valorant it up, baby. We got 2 games on the docket over here for PIEA_02 here over on Twitch. Hopefully, everyone's doing good, feeling good. Of course, y'all know it wouldn't be nearly as fun if I was covering all the action by myself. Got the homie Inferno. How you feeling, big dog?
I don't know. I feel like it would be just as fun. I think you could handle it. But no, I'll fill in some of the dry air time, some of the lull moments. But I have a feeling with some of the score lines we saw last week from one of these 2 rosters that there won't be very many dull moments. I mean, a player went like 15-0 without a single death. So I feel like we've got a pretty entertaining one in front of us at the very least.
Yeah, the Blue Streaks looked really good last week. Went 13-0 in their matchup. Pine Grove has yet to have their first matchup of the semester, so no tape up on them just quite of as yet. And we were all trying to talk a little bit in the green room. I think Pine Grove is new to Valorant. I know that they're not new to PIEA, but I don't think they've fielded a Valorant team last year, or at least last semester. So should be an interesting first look as far as that goes. But man, oh man, they got a tough matchup for their first week of this fall here.
Yeah, the player to watch I was mentioning, Rise, who went 15-0 last week. That's like the player you need to isolate. Obviously, a big change up in Valorant. For those of you who aren't in the loop, maybe the parents, they basically said, hey, everything that you know and love, we've changed. probably for the worse, some of them for the better. Honestly, I think all the patches for gunplay is actually better for the high school space queue. I'm gonna be honest with you, it makes spraying much easier, it makes spotting much easier, but like utility wise, it's just gonna feel like a completely different game for a lot of these teams. But if you have a player going 15-0, I'm willing to bet they're not doing that just with utility. They're probably really gun heavy, and that's just gonna scream that that's just gonna be even easier for you heading into this week. So a tough matchup here for Pine Grove, but you know, a chance for them to go crazy with it.
Should be fun to get into. As per usual, we have a 3-map pool. We had Lotus and Haven both banned, as much as I think we are all kind of expecting to go off to Haven here for map number 1. But we're off to Icebox, which I guess is only fitting as we do get ready to head into the winter months here in good old Pennsylvania. So, Inferno, give us a little bit of your thoughts here on what we should expect to see composition-wise heading into Icebox.
So Icebox feels like a map where teams have fallen into this initial play for controllers as a battle between Omen, who's your standard pick for pretty much every single map, and then Clove, who's fallen into a standard pool. Clove has a lot more value to the team post-mortem as well, so if your controller player doesn't really want to have to dictate the tempo or drive the team forward while they're still playing in a forward position, especially with the paranoia changes, having less distance it travels, having less width for its overall growth, though it does move faster, teams may opt to go for Clove, who didn't really have very many changes, bar the overall controller changes of having a 60-second cooldown or recharge time for those smokes. So expect to see Clove in, and you do see it locked in for one side, or about to be locked in for one side. Initiator pull, though, is going to be very difficult. Fade and KO are exceptionally powerful. Sky's lost a lot of viability for this map, especially when it comes to that A site, but a ton of utility on that B site. And then the Viper is something that is so darn powerful for a map like Icebox, especially on that B site push and defense for A site. I'm really shocked to see one of these teams not opting to go for it and instead actually picking up a true Sentinel player like that Chamber, where a lot of times you see a pseudo Sentinel if you're rocking a double duelist setup like that Viper tends to be. Though she is a controller, she acts mostly like a Sentinel, and it lets you kind of play the same way. Instead, you actually have a Sentinel for both sides, as well as that pseudo Sentinel and then the double duelist selection. Well, your typical double duelist pick of having the Reyna alongside a normal duelist, no primary duelist for the Manheim side, and instead they're going to go for another initiator on top of that Fade, having that Gecko, which is super powerful for post plants and plants on that A site. A little bit harder to use on B if you don't have the Sage for the Ice Wall to set up that plant on pocket corner for default.
Let's go ahead and get ready to get down into it. Every map in Valorant, of course, here in Inferno starts the same. That's with the pistol round, which we sometimes see could very well be the only round where we walk in on even footing here, and could very well be a big round for either of these teams to make sure they get off to the right foot. I generally try not to put too much weight on like account levels in Valorant, right? But was kind of taking a peek around for all 10 players as we were getting ready to load into the server, just to see if maybe it can give us a little bit of an inclination. It does look like we do have a full 10 players who have at least played the game more than just the semester. So I'm be excited as we do get ready to look in towards thing. It does look like Manheim, Township, only looking to make a potential push over here towards B. I feel like usually we tend to see a lot of action over towards that A site. So you know what? Let's see what they got cooking up here.
Yeah, no tertiary pressure whatsoever either to go through tube or have anyone work through orange. It was all through green, and they fought for the old orb and they gained it. So a good look for macro economy, trying to play for the early game, but that rotate off towards A side is never truly safe if you got somebody watching that tube. Though you had someone there for Pine Grove, they got eviscerated very early in that engagement, and that leads to a maybe quick plant potential onto the A side. The toxic screen is there and could be there to go up and slow out and stall, but with the Gecko in play, the wingman will get the plant down for you, Q, and guarantees a post-plant snare for your side.
Yeah, after Scoosh goes squish to start off the round, it means that they will be at the man disadvantage here on the retake, but they will still send the full 4 here onto this backside of A. Of course, a lot of LOS blockers on for now, as Drift is going to look to drop down to the low ground. Killed in vain, finding one, as is Kevolution. And that means now it's going to be all left to Bluey. It was the last one left alive. You have 4 still standing here for the Blue Streaks as they take round number 1.
Yeah, solid contending chance. The most important frag there was going to be that opening frag. It gives the information, or should have relayed that information for Pine Grove Q to swing over a little bit more fast, with more speed to the A side to actively defend. The toxic screen could have or should have gone up Wingman is less HP in total right now, and while the Toxic Screen does dissipate HP in the Decay, a little less than it used to, it's still exceptionally powerful to slow install teams. You talked about sight blockers. The Toxic Screen's about as good as you can ask for, and on top of that, you have a lot of destructive utility. That Viper needs to be a little bit more static in their play, like that pseudo Sentinel world that I was talking about. But if you're going to give, up some gaps and create some space and unfortunately lose Drift in that initial fight, then you need to make sure the team is willing to rotate over as quick as possible. And Drift in here gets a ton of damage licked back them here by Squish, but the rest of the team here from Manheim, knowing that they should arguably have an advantage, they didn't force up for purchases, can say, hey, we'll sit back towards spawn. We dominated you well enough last round. We'll continue this with the same weapons, and we'll play our static, very default game to roll out a little bit of utility, force you to rotate 4 players to that B site, and look, there they are, leaving just your poor KO alone on the A.
Let's see if they'll be able to hold off at all, or if they'll just completely fall back and go for more of that 5v5 on the retake. As far as for now, no information has been given over either way, which does mean as the first initial push looking towards A is going to start, there's been time for the rotation for the defense to move their way back on over. That means not too much of that post-plant timer will be gone, as the squad will look to, well, exec back onto site and see if they can regain a little bit of control. It'll be Spino. We'll be moving, but won't have to use the tailwind at all or the updraft to find anything. Instead, just staying on the ground. Eventually, though, people are going to have to move. It's the first opening frag on either side. Scoosh also going to be able to find one here as well. The timer starting to tick down.
It's just one man remaining, and what could you possibly do? Great use of the pop flash to try to isolate a single 1v1, and it's 4 players knowing exactly where you are, and they save so many credits by not doing the standard pick of getting your freebie bonus round with a purchase thereafter. It's going to be a Manheim side that just secures a 3rd round chance for them with proper rifles. And if you're Pine Grove in round 2, what you're hoping for is to drop weapons in the opposition's hands. They didn't force. So the best thing you can do is either on attack get a spike down with maybe a kill or 2 with some extra credits in back pocket, or play for a defuse and try to sneak out a cheeky defensive side win. They were not really able to do any of those, let alone get kills in the process. So the credits are going to be a little bit slimmer than they could be, but they went very soft with purchases, really just leaving with those classics. Should set up a solid chance for round 3, but Manheim, guaranteeing they went completely empty on the buys in round 2, will be just as sturdy. So it's typically around 5 when full rifles come for both squads, but we're seeing it early here in round 3 as it's a rush to the B site for the Manheim offense.
A chance here for the Cardinals to bounce back in a big way, but if they have that econ broken with yet another round loss, they could be in for a long, long day here. Lemon Squeeze will be able to find the first. That spike already being down, it does mean that Pine Grove is going to have to start moving in with a sense of urgency. 2 more frags being found as it's going to be a fake on the spike as Drift falls and Lemon Squeeze gets the 3K, and that will give Pine Grove their first round of the day.
In flawless fashion at that. Manheim's attempt to save out the credits in round 2 to leverage a very contending round 3 falls flat on its face entirely. Though they'll still have the credits for a round 4 buy, this now destabilizes a lot of what they were bringing to the table on B. Like we mentioned, they don't have a primary gap closing duelist. If you look at Pine Grove, that Jet's value comes in separating sight lanes between that initial front line and the rest of the back squad. Using Cloudburst to double dash in, get a lot of information, force line of sight and shots to go against them before they then updraft back out and distract. Manheim just have the Reyna, and the Lear is pretty darn good, but you can fire those things out, and they don't find as much value on closing that gap because they don't have a great way to move with no movement ability. And Manheim are lacking in that department where they're going to need it on that A site. Get real close up on that walkway if you're killed in vain, but the team needs to get some damage down range, and they do so well here against your KO for Pine Grove, but the rest of the team could start to rotate in, and there even could be the potential for an attacker side spawn flank from Pine Grove as once again they have their Clove leveraged inside of Tube, maybe for the chance for Drift to have a secondary shot, but Lemon Squeeze is good for the first, unlike round 1, and gives Manheim that player disadvantage, something they're not used to working within.
See what Pine Grove can do here now, as they do have that man advantage. I don't know just quite yet. They are going to be looking towards a push over on A. I think right now all 5 players here for the Cardinals going to be okay with holding their position. Drift going to be playing this patient as Lemon Squeeze also hanging right up underneath the container here as they'll look to make sure nothing comes in for free as far as that rotation back on that CT spawn side. But with now 30 seconds on the clock, the Blue Streaks, they've got them full send here on to A, and right now it's going to be King Jam along with Scoosh, who are, or not, oh, sorry, Scoosh, is along with Cheese Grater, who are the only two here. Cheese Grater will be able to find the first, but now it's just 10 seconds to find a way to be able to get the spike down. Looks like they should be able to do that just in time, but it will be two that are taken out, make it three, leaving King Jam as the last one left standing.
That's about as clean of a pop flash you can ask for here from your KO. King Jam has no clue where this is planted. A slight misposition of the spike going down, not hugging the actual barrier of the wall next to it. And unfortunately puts King Jam in a spot where they're spraying for it against that wall closely tight. And unfortunately it is about an extra foot out to the right, and there's no chance to shoot that down. So a slight miscommunication puts Manheim in a spot where, yes, they get those first two, and we're expecting to see the standard mode of Valorant for the 2-1 start. Didn't go the way we expected, but we're back into the even split where round 5 should have been where we have rifles for both squads, but you're in an eco round for Manheim, and Pine Grove have torn asunder the roster that went through last week, 13-0 on a very crazy spree of things by all accounts. And they even come in defensively with a pretty heavy cost weapon like the Operator. The boomstick is in hand, and this is the player who got torn apart in round 1, mind you, without a single chance to fire back. Well, they missed their first chance here. They have to prioritize their life, and they're capable of doing exactly that, though only 36 HP is remaining.
Even take a second to peek through the window, which is wildly courageous, if I can say so myself, but will eventually turn back around and able to put Scoosh down, which means now Manheim will have to figure out where they want to pivot this thing. Lemon Squeeze tries to take that Omen out of the sky. Evolution does have the Bucky in hand. It looks like they could potentially push through a window here and create some noise on the backside of the site, which could give just enough room for Cheese Grater to push back on that backside of yellow, be able to move in for the plant. The only problem is both King Jam and Kevolution have both been taken down. The Cheese Grater, last one left.
Trying to make this at least costly. Best case scenario is to drop the Operator, not allow Pine Grove to get close enough to pick it up, but there's just no chance for it. You failed to find the kill on the player that was dropped to 36 HP right at the very beginning, and you pressured them so hard to hunt for it that it cost you more players in the process. Great idea from Kevolution, though. The shrouded step after jumping up on top of Tube. Perfect way to bait out a shot. If there was a secondary player moving below Tube at the same moment, it would have been an easy execute for that offense in Manheim to find Lemon Squeeze. But unfortunately, it's one of those moments where they'll have to look back on it, either VOD review it out or break it down through this next round. And it brings to question, what is the IGL now for Manheim going to call out and going to demand from this roster? I think they'll go for a standard default, a 2-3 split, apply pressure through to the A site. The Omen Dark covers can create some sort of phantom pressure off towards an opposing site, need them to guess that they're hitting that site instead. And with the Gecko, you really do have effectively an extra gun up in these moments when you're trying to get that spike down. So you can go for a split that's a little bit less manned on these approaches, but you have to be able to do so without losing players on that approach. And with a fade, it's fairly easy to do with a haunt, but it gives away so much information in the process. And you'll have to rely a little bit more on that double initiator util to get the job done instead, and you need line of sight denial on Bluey and upper tube, and it's just not there.
We will be able to find one. Does he know they've already got one on the backside of yellow there? That'll be the question, because there's still a couple players looking to make the cross. We'll be able to find killed in vain, as now the last 3 left standing are going to be left with a tricky decision. Do they still decide to push forward here on a B, or do they pivot and try to rotate out? The only problem is they don't know who's lurking on the other side and was looking for a potential flank, as now there's just 30 seconds left. They're going to have to start to move quick, fast, and in a hurry, as they do have both Lemon Squeeze as well as our KO. They're on that backside, so instead opting to push just straight forward. Bluey looking down sight, but will be taken down. No spike on sight, though, and that's going to be now 4 straight rounds in a row that have been won from Pine Grove since the rifles have come into play.
It is a hard-pressed map to play on for offense unless you're just pounding the rock on the A site. Arguably one of the easiest sites to take, but having the agents be capable of doing so is hard to bring to the table, especially in the current meta of things here in Valorant. And the meta will shift with the huge patch update that came, but it doesn't mean that the old meta is still not powerful. And Pine Grove have arguably the meta choices for Icebox. The Viper toxic screen alone has forced Manheim to have to stall out towards the A site. They don't have an agent that has the ability to close that gap. Even a Waylay in the current state of the game gives you information about closing the gap. And if you have to go backwards, well, then you're with the rest of the team and you can rotate out in a fairly safe way. Great hop and escape from PGA Jam, and it's a great attempt to force Spino to miss with the operator. And with that play, now they have a chance to dash on towards site, use both elbow 90 and direct for defaults. And they'll have Cheese Grater with the top-down control, watching this flank now with an easy frag to Lemon Squeeze, but the Resurrect is in, and they've come to play for a second round.
Squeeze not dead just quite yet. Will eventually be taken down here as Spino working on the backside here with the op. Trying to see if they can find themselves a second one. Sees the head pop up at the ropes, but can't quite find the shot. Second peek around the corner. Still going to be unsuccessful as they do have a teammate here with them. That's Bluey, who's going to look to turn the corner. Will be able to find King Jam. Spino will be able to take down Swoosh as it's a 2v2.
They gotta trade weapons here. Spino can't be using an operator in a moment like this. Drift up above, running out of time. Pine Grove, I think they've realized there's no real chance for them to defuse this one. They'll move Spino back here to save the operator, and Drift will rotate back through defender spawn. Manheim finally win a round, and they do it off that A site, like I was mentioning. Arguably one of the best objectives in all of Valorant on any map for attacker play, but the post-plant positioning is difficult. For most teams with their setups, arguably Manheim have one of the best possible post-plant positions because of how much value the Gecko brings to the table. Having a Dizzy for extra bit, a Mosh Pit to buy time. A Viper gives you a Snake Bite, but it doesn't really do as much damage as it used to, and the Mosh Pit gives you a little bit of extra time as it's slow fall and free fall. Lets you sit much further back, and Cheese Grater was clean as can be, getting both of the kills required to deal with Lemon Squeeze efficiently with that run it back being online. Pine Grove finally lose out, and maybe the chance for Manheim to come back into things after a 4-in-a-row loss that you don't really like to see, but could have been an early loss of life if Drift had just barely not peppered the bottom side of that tube and hit the head instead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even if they had lost that last round, Swirly at risk of spiraling out of control, so able to at least withstand for now. Sure, you would like to tie things up here in round number 8, and they'll hope to be able to do that, but they are going to have a more of a low and slow approach. You had mentioned generally we see people more looking to try and bang this thing home on A. I guess they're just liking the thought process of keeping it fresh and funky, as they are still more looking over towards B, and not even really giving much sound indication over towards A, as they do have just the one player killed in vain over there. I mean, maybe if you were causing a little bit more of a ruckus, you could be able to pull some of the defense more over towards that side. Instead, Bluey's still over here and going to be able to find that opening pick. And you also have Lemon Squeeze, who's lurking here in the middle, which is now basically put killed in vain and separated them from the rest of the squad.
Yeah, no way to apply pressure back. Good job here from Lemon Squeeze to go ahead and fall back into tube. Killed in Vain will still not be 100% sure they can step forward, and now you've got nothing but Cheese Grater left alone on this site, stuck behind Yellow Crate, and they don't have a great way to rotate back over that way. If you have an Omen here, guess what? Can't lay down a controller smokes in the afterlife, unlike what Pine Grove can do. When we talked about how good Lemon Squeeze has been in the lobby here, Kiro, let's talk about how good they can still be in the afterlife. Clove can still place these smokes and be useful for the team when they die, which means you essentially have an extra duelist in the roster. So while you typically consider the Reyna as your go-to secondary duelist for a map like Icebox, though Manheim are using it as their primary, you can treat Clove the exact same way. Lemon Squeeze has been doing that so cleanly. 8-5, 8-4 now for Bluey, locking down that B site with no toxic screen to close off those sightlines on B long. It is an easy frag for them, whether they're upper tube or sitting way back towards Snowman. Manheim just don't have the great ability to shut that down, and the agent select is not doing them a lot of favors, though their gunplay has been really darn clean in the 3 rounds we've seen one from them, especially that round 1 where they absolutely tore apart this Pine Grove defense. We just haven't seen a better play on them utility wise, and Pine Grove have been outplaying them on both capacities since that point.
We're talking about utilities and things that will be at their disposal. They do have all 5 ults on the table here, and I think you want to use them while you can still get some big value and potentially get one more use of those ults here at the back half of your first half, because we're already 2/3 of the way on through. 3 frags on different parts of the map here, all in favor of Pine Grove, as the Blue Streaks now going to have their life in round number 9, all left to cheese grater, and everyone's starting to close on in. There's not going to be much time, as it's going to be a flawless round here for the Cardinals.
It's the perfect way to continue on a dominant turn for defense. And the only unfortunate thing here for Manheim is to look towards that defensive side of things. You still have 3 more rounds. It is very possible to go 6-6, but with an Eco in front of you, it's hard to find leverage already with the distance problem and be able to close that gap, and you're now needing to do so with limited weaponry. You just have to go in as fast as possible here. Dark covers are so important for Kevolution. They have to make sure both of them online, but with a 60-second timer now for its recharge, it's much less effective to stall out here, Q, to go for these early waiting 60 seconds, a dark cover for a bait, then you're forced to wait an extra 60 seconds. You can see one dropped here just in central mid, and Limit Squeeze is playing around it from within tube. It forces Manheim to have to wait even longer for that potential chance for a recharge, and forces players to go in very dangerous gunfights. As Killed in Vain goes for it with a stinger, somehow wins it against a Vandal, and now has a proper rifle they could use through Orange to maybe get a kill or 2 on this crossfire if it wasn't for their teammates' loss of life from just within tube that we've seen so many times now from this Pine Grove team.
Oh, can you find a second here? Killed in Vain going to be able to do just that, and well, that should have them feeling pretty confident as they're moving towards B. The only problem is they have lost one of their teammates. Luckily, as Bluey does fall, they do know that there's only 2 players left, and it looks like it's a quick pivot over towards A. Can't blame them for that. There's a lot of noise going on over towards B, and figured if you clean up enough of those players over this way, you should get it for free, and that's exactly how it goes down. Spike going down here as well, and now you wonder, with all that money in the bank, what does Pine Grove opt to do here? Because you have an op that is pretty costly, but you feel like you would still like to take a rifle or 2 out of the Blue Streak's hands if possible.
Pino has a good crossfire to maybe leverage here alongside Drift. But you got a quick 1v1 you had to deal with first, and you're good for it. Time is running out. Last time we saw a post-play here from Manheim, Pine Grove were too slow to transition in towards site. No utility that can close this down. Your Clove can still put down a smoke, but the timing will be tight for it, and the Lear perfectly forces Spino back. It'll be a round win for the Manheim Township offense, and they etch ever closer to a very potential 6-6 half now, Kiro. The ultimates are starting to come online for Pine Grove, and I expect a early Viper's Pit maybe to come out here for their Viper. They could put that in a main directly on site, or they could put it on B. It's got such viability for both sides, and you'd put it inside green, or you'd put it down inside where the Altar of Lies or elbow on that A site. But you have 2 more rounds left, and with both sides having so many ultimates, this is a big problem that plagues Collegiate for a long time, Q. Use it or lose it, folks. The ultimates are here. Might as well use them to your advantage. And if you're good enough and you feel good enough about it, you'll get that thing back online pretty darn quick. And unfortunately, with only 2 rounds left, you won't, but you maybe could have if you used them earlier.
Yeah, I feel like for the Blue Streaks, quite a few of their players were sitting on their ults even just 2 rounds ago. You mentioned if you use it those couple of rounds ago, a couple of those players probably still get one more crack at it before they switch over to the defensive side. Does look like they are going to giddy on up and push right here on to B. It's a full send as Scoosh looking to play from underneath. You will see the lockdown come out here from the defense to try and prevent the squad from being able to get access onto site. That'll push them all the way back here.
Baby Cage forces you back, and it's just a great piece of stall kit, and it isolates these 1v1s for line of sight on Spino. And again, with no toxic screen for this, what are you to do? You have no way to close this. The dark cover can do you well, but you don't have anything for upper tube, and Drift can just continuously toss that utility. What a swing, though, from Kevolution. Knows exactly where Blue will be lying in wait. Spike's been collected. Crossfire onto Drift. Should have won Skush, but they couldn't do it. And Spino has to clutch up big. 3K, a 1v1, stuck within the lower side of Huts, and they get their 1. No chance for Pine Grove to carry the operator this time around, and Manheim are 1 round closer to a 6-6 half that they're wanting heading into the favored defensive side.
As they were peeking back behind the corner too. Literally, I think it was the last bullet that they had let fly ends up being the one that connects, and You mentioned it. Could very well be looking at that tie score here at the half. Both teams sitting on 3 ults heading into this final round, and it feels like for Manheim, well, they're starting to piece these things together here. What's interesting is as much as we've seen them really relying on those pushes more over towards the B site, it's more of that typical quick push over towards A that it looks like they are going to lean on here for their final go.
KO's role right now is just to make sure if there is a From the Shadows coming towards them or a Thrash, they don't go seen, but unfortunately Kevolution's From the Shadows doesn't go seen. It's now an execute on a site for Manheim, and the speed and the ability to do so with a major gap closer like a free teleport off a couple ult pips secures now a Pine Grove post plant that they only have 2 players left into, and who else but Lemon Squeeze and Drift to brew up a possible chance for it. Lemon Squeeze will go up into rafters, Kevolution behind the Radiant stack just trying to hide away. The dark cover will try to cut off the inside layer of rafters and possibly the screen angle, but the headshot through that smoke just where Lemon Squeeze can't see puts Kevolution in the chance now for a shrouded step up above for their 4th, and there it is. 6-6 at halftime in Manheim. What a performance to recover in the latter half of our first.
They did definitely lose the control there in those middle sort of rounds, but very well put. A nice fight back for the squad as they will now shift over to the defensive side, and we'll see what they can do. You know, in these close matchups like this one, Inferno, you often see the team, if there is one, that walks away with both pistols, especially if they're able to follow up that following round as well. Those 4 rounds are what really make the difference. We did see that Pine Grove was able to, or sorry, not Pine Grove. We just see Manheim Township was able to win that pistol round in first half. Let's see if they can do the same here.
And they did it pretty much flawlessly as well, mind you. And then they turned in round 2, not buying up and forcing as you would, as it's considered your bonus, and winning with just pistols, you get the job again, hoping to set up a round 3 and 4 continuance, and both those rounds went in Pine Grove's favor. So how do they do this on defense? We'll have to see. The 0 point goes down in an attempt to get info for Kevolution. Nothing is spotted though for the Pine Grove offense, but the shots go out for Kevolution. Now they're being rushed upon by a ghost up above from Lemon Squeeze. Good speed from Pine Grove to get into sight. That toxic screen and the cloaked smokes cut off screens entirely where they just rush forward and take these fights. Gorgeous from Pine Grove in a pistol round, using the limited utility they have to win out these fights and forcing the agenda of saying, hey, our win condition is spike plants. Kills come in as a tertiary, and Manheim don't have the players to even survive it because we're so darn good about cutting off line of sight.
15 HP in a dream. Let's see if King Jam can do it. And well, one turn of the corner here from Spino puts them down, and it will be Pine Grove. Does indeed take the lead to start off the second half. It hasn't have to have them feeling pretty good, as it felt like they were really in control of things there heading down the back half of the first half. But now it's going to be about making sure that they can lock in, not only doing a great job of being able to win this second round here of the second half, but they also, well, I was going to say aren't investing in too much. They're investing a little bit, but you obviously want to make sure you can carry over at least those top couple of rifles that are on the screen there, the Guardian, the Bulldog. You want to make sure that those make it into round 15.
Bucky up close. Ooh, player etching so close and near. Just a moment. There's your one up above or 2. Can you get another on top? You do. It's a third to tally up to the margin. Manheim's defense now relying on a single player. They'll toss a haunt pretty far out, and it will get destroyed, but it gives yourself some time for the rest of the defense to rush on over in an attempt to hold strong. This is a Manheim Township that in the first half when they won the pistol queue didn't buy up for round 2, and look at what they're doing now for the second round of the second half when they lost. They're going in with fervor. But Pine Grove's Bluey gets 2 on the turnaround and maybe has a chance for more, but Drift gets cut off from the classic. So much damage downrange, and Bluey has to get an ace in this round to stop this Pine Grove, or stop this Manheim recovery in round 14.
Well, there's still 35 seconds, so you do have a little bit of time. Problem is you don't have the spike, so if you're going to do it, you're probably going to have to slay your way through to a round win. Bluey will eventually be able to find their way to the spike, and I don't think there's enough time to pivot around, so you're going to have to just turn the corner. It's Killed in Vain, who's aiming down sight, shot the sheriff, also shot the deputy. We're all tied up here at 7.
I don't think that's a reference they're going to get Q. I don't think that's
Listen, I'm old. I'm sorry.
You gotta bring up a lot more of the new gen references. What's the current one going? It's Chicken Stars. Is that the one that's?
I don't know. I wasn't bringing up the one of the score before this last round though, because I refuse.
I completely forgot about that one. All right. Thank you for unfortunately reminding me that that is an existing point in the current state of memes in the world. For the amount of times that we've seen back and forth in this one, it's a true zipper affair. And Pine Grove will have to turn around round 15 in a way that sets up for more. Crossing over once again on the rope is Lemon Squeeze. Gate distraction here on the Cheese Grater. But you have got so many players stacked on this A site ready as Manheim are getting these frags that Pine Grove don't have a really great shot at finding frags back the other way. Paranoia would have clipped you if this was the update before, but Drift gets away with a little bit of visual. Still, Evolution will survive. 82 HP is plenty fine, but it throws all three players swing at the same moment. And then keep in mind, they don't have to. The spike is completely under their control. It seems a doomed endeavor for Drift to try to close out this round. As Evolution goes high and mighty for it, gets their isolated kill, and Drift, maybe this is possible. Headshots in a headshot game can get the job done, but it's about 80 HP, maybe 60 HP for the chamber of the opposing side of PGA, and Drift has a full HP Scoosh on the other end. It's not easy to push through this, especially when the Clove, who's dead, can continuously put up of course.
Just let it bang through the smoke there with the shotty. Why not? You're not pushing through to me, he says. And, well, after back-to-back rounds here, the Blue Streaks able to regain their lead. Question is, how long can you hold on to it? Because I always like to call these rounds that we're just about ready to roll into the meat and potato rounds. Those rounds 17 through 20, where a game truly feels like it's won or lost. And as close as things have been, if one of these two teams can go on a run, feels like it should be able to secure the deal.
Yeah, and we always talk about 2-1 splits to start off halves. This one was broken, though, and not the standard way we expect. It was a one pistol round start, and then Manheim making the recovery thereafter. And with the momentum that they had ending that first half, I'm really none too shocked to see them start off this second in a dominant fashion. And with this toxic screen in play for Pine Grove, you'd really anticipate that being used off towards the B site, but not the case. Instead, they've just ran Spike to the B site. No one nearby, mind you, to assist Lemon Squeeze in a possible post-plant scenario. And if you lose this fight, your Spike's in no man's land. Pine Grove, the offense needs to have players behind it. But now they maybe have a chance to hold cutoff angles on the rotate over, but nobody's watching that either. And Manheim have player advantage and some visibility of line of sight, but a good play from your KO to get a frag off and towards Killed in Vain to close that margin ever so slightly and get the spike recollected for the offense.
And able to at least grab it. Will they be able to get it down as Cheese Grater finds one? Kevolution finds it. Another, make it two. That's going to move the Blue Streaks up to 9. And I can only imagine what the comms were like as they were looking around over and be like, I think I'm alone. I think I'm alive. Oh, hold on, there's one. And then all of a sudden you're down and the Spike's in a tough spot. And, well, all of a sudden the can's open, worms are everywhere, and, well, now Pine Grove's down by 2. They're gonna have to turn this thing around.
It's one of those moments as well where I love to see players taking advantage of gaps, taking advantage of weak points and poking and prodding to find the missing links in the armor, right? But I'm not seeing any reason why the spike carrier should be the one to do that for Pine Grove. That could have been a chance for a spike plant, yes, but you were still going for a kill, and then you were trying to wait for a teammate, but you didn't wait for the teammate for the frag, which is the important part of that. And it puts Manheim in a spot where it's an easy recovery, even if they lost a player quickly afterwards from the KO of Pine Grove. It's a push towards the A site, though, and Manheim are very quick to move these players in, and nobody put a smoke, a dark cover, or nothing on top of screens, which is a perfect shot for Kevolution, not just to get 1, 2, or 3. They'll make it 4 with a chance for an ace stolen by Killed in Vain, but you'll take what you can get.
Dog, you can't let the homie have the ace, man. I mean, I guess
it would have been a cheated ace anyways because there was a resurrection play, but still, it's the 5. It's the Roman numeral 5 that really matters for the clip at the end of the day.
Ends up looking good as they are back into the swing of things over on that Pine Grove side. Did we switch back around? I thought we were on Manheim side. Maybe I am wrong on that. Right now, though, far as off of the scoreboard. Pine Grove now just a couple of rounds away.
Scoreline, though, something to keep an eye on. Double digits, we call it the checkpoint or chokehold. Teams who tend to get there find themselves at victory the fastest. But they also can struggle into a moment where they've been lulled into a false sense of security. That's the problem. Scoosh gets that first blood, though, giving Pine Grove the chance for a solid position defensively. Whether your offense can still find space to move forward, lacking that jet with that tailwind to get into space will have to be seen, but Pine Grove come in with an absolute level of aggression that is unwarranted for their defensive side of things, moving all the way into green, mind you, Q, leaving Manheim's double split push, their tertiary players being stuck between a rock and a little hard place. The best fragger here have killed in vain, and there's your cutoff angle you're hoping to find.
All of a sudden, things get made interesting as it is the 2v2. Evolution so far away from everything here, and KO will look to try and slowly walk through around its Scoosh, who's right up over on the other side. The good news is it allows for them to pick up the spike and should allow for them to get it down here as well, which means the timer will restart. As now it's going to be the countdown, and that gives this defense a little bit of time to play on the retake here.
There's no reason the shotgun should be as effective as it is for this player. They've been holding on to it for too long. But maybe when they send the Prowler this way, that tells them, I should say, that Lemon Squeeze is tucked inside Green Cubby. A frag or two, yep, that's nice, but 4 will do you more justice as Manheim are attempting to claw their way back through this one. Their agent select is going to be the better choice for it, but they've been struggling offensively against the way that Pine Grove have been using these agents in a more competitive fashion, making sure that if the players for Manheim are closing into space on site queue, they are very fast to go in. We compare the retake ability and the retake speed between the first half and the second half. It is miles apart different. There were multiple rounds where Manheim's defense were too slow to retake, and they had 2 in a row with the operator that they had to just save it at the end because there was no time for it, despite it being a manageable 2v2. Not a chance that's happening for Pine Grove. They will 100% every single time they get up there have players active on site for a retake, and they're doing that by defaulting to the player actually sitting static in towards kitchen where they can rotate both sides effectively.
Playing with confidence is always a way to go about things, especially if you can do it coordinated-wise with a full 5. Killed in vain. Turns the corner, going to be able to find 2 before getting put down by Bluey. It will be King Jam, who will look to step right on up with that up and looks across the way, but to no avail. It looks like at this point, Manheim already opted to rotate this thing over towards B, and understandably so. Lemon Squeeze has already cleared out the site. There's no one over there and is now actually looking all the way back across at A. Has been able to find Cheese Grater. Unfortunately, though, Scoosh will put them down, which leaves this now to a 2v2, but Manheim Township do have this Viper's Pit to work with.
Ooh, an attempt there to send the Haunt to close out Bluey's position. Scoosh will even get a great spray through to the KO. Prowler also an effective means of moving Bluey back further into space, and a tether that is unexpected to get you. Maybe PGA King Jam sees it. You knows the tether and the tendrils are... What just happened on the lineup? An unlucky and unprecedented performance. And it puts Manheim now at 9, etching closer, and maybe the sign of things to come for their offense.
Sometimes better to be lucky than good, I suppose, or maybe you just made your own luck, but that's one heck of a clip right there to be able to find those final 2. The Blue Streaks are now just within 1 round of tying things up. I had mentioned the meat and potato round, 17 through 20. It looked like Pine Grove was getting ready to run away with things as they had started off the second half with 4 of 5 rounds. Now when they matter the most, Manheim Township have been looking pretty darn good. Lemon Squeeze, well, on the other side of this smoke for now, but does have Killed in Vain right on the other side, who will eventually put him down.
Solid performance to keep an eye on that central mid. Now a speed game for Manheim, needing to close the gap onto the ace side. A great way to do so is to force every defensive player from Pine Grove to retreat out of sight. And knowing that Kevolution, one player will likely be in that bottom corner Raptors, can give you a free kill, but Cheese Grater still executes Spino on the transition into sight. Manheim, maybe a chance for more, but this post plant will be tough with Pine Grove grabbing man numbers continuously in this post fight.
One enemy remains.
Down is just 2. Make it 1 as Bluey falls. Drift. Gonna have to pull off the miracles here in a 1v4. Or maybe you can just make this round a little bit more expensive and get another rifle or 2 out of their hands. You're able to take down 1. But it looks like 1 might be it, especially if you do want to fall back and save your own rifle. I don't know if they were able to get that last one. I don't think they did. But more importantly, we're able to stay alive as Pine Grove is now 2 rounds away.
Credits have been stable enough for the side of Manheim, even with the inconsistent victories. And the same thing was said for Pine Grove after that 2-round loss in a row. And we've been in that meat and potatoes scenario here, Q, without really needing to see a substantial eco buy. And a lot of that's coming off of these eco breaker weapons that we've seen be wildly successful for both sides. Arguably, Pine Grove should have been a spot where they wouldn't need to buy, but since you've had Squish buying a Judge every single time, the credits overall for the team are being saved in heaps and bounds. And it now leaves Manheim in a spot where offensively they're getting into sight and they're getting these kills and they're occasionally finding victories, but they're not having to worry too much about having nothing but those stingers in their back pocket, where yes, it's fine, but you'd like to have a rifle to work with. It gets you the kill early too, and it forces that Pine Grove defense back, and the post plant should go online here at any moment.
Spike's gonna go down. 5 players available to be able to hold off the 4 here for the Cardinals. We'll be looking for the retake. It'll be a prowler that'll at least lead the charge, see what sort of early information they can get. And they'll play both on the high and the low as they look to enter onto site here. I don't know if they've been able to identify. Yeah, they were exactly where Lemon Squeeze was. The knives are out. Here for Spino, who's been able to find 1. King Jam is just sticking the spike like a madman, and no one turns the corner. Pine Grove now on match point.
Nobody's up on conveyor, not a single player ready to watch that post plant, and it's because Pine Grove read into it. We're still feeling active engagements. We're still feeling this brawl contention. You talk early in these rounds as this utility consumption simulator, a battle to see who's wasting more utility early, who's baiting out more utility, who's got better counterance. And then late game for post plants, yes, utility is important. You could see that with your KJ util on site, attempting to have nano swarms. That was shot out and cleared as well from King Jam. But you're looking at the team and saying, hey, it's much less a matter of worried about utility right now. They're still peaking gunfights with us. And if that's the case, that means they're not on conveyor yet. They're not positioned for a post plant because we've come in fast enough. Stim goes up. That's the null command. Chance now with the Odin to spray through for killed in vain. 1 player resurrected, though. The null command will still be a big nuisance. But the Vandal, not a necessity. The Odin is, and it is barraging the Manheim side. And all but guarantees Pine Grove send us out of this one 13-9, with the final execution being with a Phantom of all things. You have to trade it, I guess. It's a cheating ace, but an ace nonetheless to come through for your final man.
Is it too early to say that Brock has ruined VCT or ruined Valorant with everybody bringing out the Odin after VCT champions? I don't know. I feel like I'm seeing it all the time now. But hey, if it works, I guess don't fix it. You know what I mean? It definitely seems
the one weapon they didn't touch in this patch, actually. So it's the same gun, and it's still that good. I don't know. It's crazy to me how good that Odin is right now. It's just.
Well, Killed in Vain led the way as far as in that last match, 26-15. Despite a strong performance from both Bluey and Lemon Squeeze, however, it won't be enough to be able to walk away with the dub. Hey, you know what, though? Phenomenal game. I feel like so often over here at PIEA, we see a lot of 13-2, 13-3s. It's not often we see where both teams generally get close to double digits. It does unfortunately mean our second game on the day has been moved, but hey, you know what? I'll take what I can get, I guess.
Yeah, and Icebox is one of those maps where you're expecting to see a fairly dominant first half from one side, where either your defense goes crazy or offense finds what works on the A side, and consistently can either rotate for a B side for one of those quirky little rounds. But it was very close at the end of halftime, right? 6-6, and then the ending was nearly just as close, though that edge you get off the attack and the effectiveness you had from it. It is exactly what we were saying. Hey, your defense isn't really solid because you're missing that Viper, but the offense is going to be really good as long as you can figure out what works to close the gap. And they pretty much just ignored the Viper's toxic screen for the most part, which with the decay changes to it can make a lot of sense. But if you have strengths, make sure you're working alongside those. And this is the exact moment where a lot of teams struggle if they don't pick the right agents. You didn't pick the right agents, but you knew exactly how to play those agents, and that's what matters most in those moments.
Well, looking good here. We're, of course, still really early on in the fall. You mentioned a big patch change, so our teams do have some time to adjust, but also still early on in the fall, plenty of time to be able to make some changes and be able to look pretty good towards not only just the end of the semester, but where it all really matters come state championships at the end of the spring, where there's quite a bit of time between now and then. Y'all have been seeing all of the overlays over the course of the first couple of weeks for the fall brawl. We've got our first LAN of our semester over here for PIEA this weekend, the LAN of Steel. Make sure y'all are, if y'all are up in the area, come out through and hang out at the UPMC Events Center. Should be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of our traditional titles and also got some other fun and interesting things going on. We've got 1v1 for like Madden, Rocket League. We got some Fortnite going on. Should be a lot of fun over the weekend, or shouldn't say the weekend, just Saturday. So make sure y'all are tuning in, showing up, showing out. And if it's first time through tuning in over here on PIEA02, make sure you're smacking that follow button down at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen and turning those notifications on. But that is going to do it for us here today. But before we get out of here, I want to make sure we're giving a big shout out to the man behind the scenes, pressing all the buttons, giving us the views and the vibes over here on PIEA02 for the afternoon high-tech low-life. Because, Infernosis, we really do have the easy job. We get to show up, get excited about pixels. We have no story to tell without a high-tech low-life pressing all the buttons. So big shout-out to them and all of our game day crew over here at PIEA. Also, make sure you're giving a big shout-out to y'all's staff there on site at your schools, making sure that our students get an opportunity just like this. But until we do get to catch y'all back for the next one, man, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere. Game hard and love hard. All right, y'all. That's Inferno. I'm Q. For the rest of the crew here from the front to the back, have a great rest of your week. Peace.
Chasing the wind, gotta love it while you can. In the moment, let it in. No holding back, can't pretend. Chasing the wind, gotta love it while you can. In the moment, let it in. No holding back, can't pretend. Your friends, they talk, saying you should be the one to stop. They say you're wrong. Don't you let them get into your thoughts. They're gonna tell you anything